Now let's take a closer look at the deeply complex sectarian and ethnic mosaic shaping Syria's ongoing conflict, which has just been resolved really, from Sunni Muslims to Alawites, Druze, Kurds and Christians. Each group has a distinct history as well as role and stake in the nation's fragile future.
Syria's population of over 20 million is overwhelmingly Sunni Muslim, but also includes a mix of Alawites, Christians, Druze, Shiites and Kurds, each with deep-rooted identities. Sunni Muslims have long dominated Syria's cultural centers like Damascus and Aleppo. But since Hafiz al-Assad seized power in 1970, power shifted towards Alawite minority. In 1982, the Syrian branch of the Sunni Islamist Muslim Brotherhood launched an unsuccessful revolt against Hafiz al-Assad. The Alawites, just 10% of the population, gained prominence under the Assads. They were a historically poor rural community from Syria's mountainous coastal region. Hailing from the Alawite village of Qardaha, Hafiz al-Assad seized power after climbing the ranks in the military and the Ba'ath Party. Druze communities rooted in southern Sweden maintain a degree of secrecy about the practice of their faith, which incorporates elements from Islam and other philosophies, emphasizing monotheism and reincarnation. The minority group that also has members in Lebanon, Israel, and the Israeli-occupied Golan Heights. Kurds are Syria's largest non-Arab ethnic group at around 10% of the population and are concentrated near the border with Turkey and Iraq. They are part of a stateless ethnic group spread between Syria, Turkey, Iran, Iraq, and Armenia. Christians, though small in number, are diverse: the Greek Orthodox, Maronites, Syriac Orthodox, and Catholics, Chaldeans, Assyrians and Armenian Orthodox and Catholics, and a few Protestants. With ethnic and sectarian lines shaping alliances and battlefronts, interim President Sharar's efforts to unify Syria face daunting challenges. The road to peace in Syria must navigate centuries of history and a mosaic of identities, each demanding a voice in the nation's uncertain future. Bureau Report, DD India.
So for now, calm has been restored, but the situation perhaps still remains fairly tenuous. To talk about it, we're joined by our guest, Ambassador Anil Kumar Trigunath. He's a former senior diplomat. And good evening to you, Ambassador Trigunath. What do you make of how things have panned out over the last few days in the southern part of Syria, right next to Israel, which Israel then intervened and bombed even Damascus? And now we have some sort of a situation of calm after a lot of mediation also took place. The US is involved, Turkey was involved, Arab nations were also involved.
Yes, in fact, as you mentioned in your report, that Syria is a mosaic of various religions, sects that have been coexisting for a very long time. Of course, there have been various conflicts and problems among themselves. There are Alawites, there are Kurds, there are Christians, there are Druze communities, and Druze are also on both sides. About 150,000 Druze live also in Israel, and Israelis basically tried to take them into the army and others. And therefore, when this whole thing, if you remember that when al-Shara came to power, immediately thereafter a big delegation from Syria of the Druze elders crossed into Israel and wanted to talk. So when Israel took over complete control of Golan Heights, it tried to justify its presence and support in support of Druze to come and attack the military installations and whatever al-Shara, the forces that al-Shara has. And they also bombed the defense of building near the presidential palace and all. So I think that this is something that free for all. There is no international law. There is just the pretext that you take. Basically, what Israel is looking at is creating some kind of buffer in the southwest, especially in Sweda area, where there is it's a demilitarized zone that is looking for, and that's what probably has been agreed to because of the ceasefire. At the same time, you know that the Americans have been very keen and they have been supporting al-Shara from the very beginning, along with the Turks and to the extent with the Israelis. When they took over power and moved out the Assad regime completely. But they have not been able to control the whole country as of now. So the Druze fear for retaliation from the Bedouins and from the Sunni tribes as well as from the army. They don't have the faith in him.
Okay.
They don't trust. They don't trust al-Shara also. So we are going to see. We had seen that about 100 odd Alawites were also killed in such kind of skirmishes. There are problems between the Kurds and the current regime of al-Shara in Damascus. So it is a very tenuous situation, and it will continue to flare up from time to time.
But do you think for the time being, the ceasefire will hold? Although there is a certain issue where the Golan Heights are concerned, because some of the Druze have been coming over to Israel, and Israel doesn't want to. It doesn't want that.
Israel wants some of the Druze to be there, so that it can create some kind of a buffer between the Arabs and the Jews, because they align more towards the Jews and the Christians, the Druze community. So it serves them, and that's why they have taken them into the army as well. So it serves purpose for them for both ways. But it seems to be myopic at this stage. But Israel, by force, has already controlled the Golans, and it is trying to create a buffer zone in Soweida and other places. So we'll have to see how the international community is going to pressurize both sides to maintain the calm. Right now, it seems that Marco Rubio tried to get away by saying that there was some misunderstanding, but I think the misunderstanding is of their ground situation that the Americans have generally from this region, and that's why. But hopefully that there will be a calm, because it's very needed. Whatever be the case, Syria deserves a peaceful return to normalcy. Millions of Syrians are in different countries, the refugees. They have suffered a great deal in the last 15 years, and I hope that there is some kind of a calm prevails. And Israel also understands that by doing what it does may not be helpful in the long run for them.
Right. I just want to understand further. I mean, we have been reading about this Druze community. I believe they are some kind of an offshoot of the Shiite sect of Islam, but they have certain mixed practices as well. But I just wanted to ask you, what was the status of the Druze community during the Assad regime? Were they better off than they are now, or were they in a bad shape even then, and things have worsened with the new regime, the interim regime?
You know, the Assad regime itself was a minority regime of Alawites.
Yes, the Alawites.
They also were partly Shiite. So to some extent, they have the commonality, and I have visited myself the proportion, and I saw that there was not such a major confrontation between them. But now what has happened is that with the advent of al-Shara, and once again the Sunnis are able to control the region or the country in that sense. So I think many of the Bedouins and others, and in fact it's not as simple as it looks like. If you see the chain of events, both sides have attacked each other. It started off with one truck that was taking some food supplies in the Druze village, which was stopped by the Bedouins and taken. Then they were kidnapping each other. Then they started killing one another till the army came. And therefore, and also there is this Druze military council led by Hijri, which in the earlier case also denied the existence of any ceasefire. So he did not allow any ceasefire to take place. It's only now that under pressure from the Americans and on Israel as well as on al-Shara.
Okay. Let's quickly talk about. Let's also quickly talk about the issue of stability in Syria, because how do you think this entire episode has left al-Shara himself looking? Is he still firmly ensconced with American support and support of others, or has it in some way weakened him? Because there is a perception that it was the Israeli bombing, especially the military headquarters and very close to the palace, that compelled him to sue for peace.
As you know that when this transition was taking place from Assad to al-Shara, at that time both the Americans and the Israelis bombed the whole military outfit of Syria, which existed, which was quite significant, but they finished it off in no time. So today, Al-Shara does not have the kind of an army or the forces that can confront. You at best, it is capable of essentially just controlling some kind of a law and order in Damascus and elsewhere. He is not in full control of the country as well. I mean, we
He
have
won't be
seen
in
that.
control of the area as well where the current conflict is
Yes,
happening. He's left it to some tribal
absolutely.
leaders.
Yes, so this is why the Druze control this area, then this Kurds control a large part of the area, then you have the other Alawites in the coastal belt. So he does not still control the whole country. But what he is trying overtly, at least with the help of others and under the pressure from the West, he is trying to bring about some kind of a reconciliation. But this has to be a genuine reconciliation, then only they can all come together. But of course, the U.S. interest is also playing out in for expanding the Abraham Accords by including Syria and Lebanon into the four countries that already were there. So that is one of the game plan that the United States has, and that's why they are containing Israel. Israel or Netanyahu, frankly, do not believe that Al-Shara is a changed man. They think still he's a terrorist, and so do the Druze. And that's why, under the pretext of supporting Druze, Israel is doing what it is doing.
Mm-hmm. What kind of what kind of stakes does India have in all this? I mean, the U.S. has direct stakes. We've seen Donald Trump praising Al-Shara as well in a slightly unusual way, and giving him the kind of support that he needs, perhaps with those waiving of sanctions as well. But you know, how do things move forward, and what kind of a future does Syria have, where perhaps India could also play a part, where India might be interested in Syria's stability in return to better times?
Well, we have always supported Syria's Syrian solution by the Syrian people. I mean, we have supported them in the humanitarian relief. We provide $5 million every year. We provide humanitarian assistance. We have been standing with the Syrian people per se, including during the Assad time, and even now we are there with them. But at the same time, currently, country is going through a transition, but does not know exactly how it's going to play out. So we do hope that the international community, especially the Arab countries and the Americans, are able to bring about some kind of a peace and stability there, because it's extremely important, and Syria is a very important point of that chain, and therefore India is very much keen that there is stability and security in the place, so that more and more people who wants to return to their country, and lots of refugees, 7.5 million, they can get back to their country and live in peace.
And what about Russia and China? Are they completely hands off right now, or just watching from a distance quietly?
The Russia mainly,
China had a voice, in fact, today.
Yeah, they are all issuing statements, but China is not that much involved. Although, if you remember that Syria became the 22nd country to join the BRI, the last country in the region. As far as Russia is concerned, Russia has cut some kind of a deal with both Turkey and Israel in order to retain its bases as of now. But it is not getting involved too much. They are supporting, and I think that suits Al-Shara also. And the Russians and Israelis also have some understanding in that regard.
Okay. Well, let's see which way things go. For now, let's just hope that this calm sustains. The ceasefire is very important for semblance of stability to remain where Syria is concerned. And of course, the long-term future still remains pretty murky. Thanks a lot for joining us for the moment to talk about it, Ambassador Trikunath.